Hi, good evening. We're back. This is my daughter, Wendy.
Hi, everybody.
I guess today we're just going to ramble about, I don't know, anything you want to talk about.
Anything, I guess.
Would you like to talk about, you want to start it off?
I guess, did you want to talk about I guess we can talk about nature.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Would you like to start it off?
I guess it's good to go in nature if anybody doesn't know that by now, because first off, it raises your frequency. It brings you back to a grounding level, and it helps you wake up, actually. Right?
Yes. Okay, you can tell this is our first time. So.
Anyway, it's very good to be in nature because you need all of the negative ions that it lets out. It cleanses your body. And especially if you're in stress or anything, it just cleans you out completely. You need to be in nature. I have heard that being in nature can wake you up, fully restore you. You can even go into other dimensions being in nature.
Yeah.
And you can see a lot more around you.
We can talk about the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Chartreuse, because we've had encounters with them.
Many encounters, actually.
And I will tell you this, we've noticed that because where I used to live, where Wendy still lives, it's my old house, we saw, of course, lots of big footprints. Would you like to tell the story about the one incident when we were outside? And I don't know, there was so many
Sparky?
of them.
When we had Sparky?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what happened was me and Mom were sitting in the backyard, and we were playing cards or just talking, I can't remember. And it was nighttime. It was probably around 11, maybe 11:30 at night. Mm-hmm. And we had our dog outside with us. Oh, the cat's crying. Anyway, next thing you know, we hear this big, loud noise. It sounds like trees are falling down. So we jump up. We're like, what the hell is that? It gets faster and faster, closer and closer.
The strides were enormous.
Yes.
You could hear boom, boom. And it's like, what has strides that big?
Yeah, it literally sounded like it was knocking trees down. That's how loud it was.
Yeah.
And it got closer, and we both jumped up at the same time. Our dog jumped up. We ran to the door. Our dog was there first, of course.
He beat us to the door.
Yeah, he had his tail down. He was freaking out. And normally he's one of those dogs that barks at anything and everything. It doesn't matter. But he was scared, and you can see that he was scared.
Tiger, come here.
Anyway, we ran in the house, and right before we closed the door, this huge roaring sound. I wouldn't even be able to describe it. It was so loud, and it was something I've never heard before in my life. And it hit me in the bottom of my stomach.
We've had other Bigfoot encounters, but this is the only Bigfoot that I've ever come across where it had a most horrendous smell to it.
Oh my God, it stunk. We
smelled it before we heard it. And it was like, what is that smell?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It smelled like dead
rotting flesh
and poop. And it was like horrendous,
rotten trash.
Now every other Bigfoot encounter we've had, it's never been like that. They didn't smell. But this
was also around the summertime when it happened. It was very humid outside.
We also know that these Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, Chartreuse, whatever you want to call them, they're like on a migratory pattern because they would be coming around at certain times of the year. We ended up going out into the woods after that, not that incident, but some other incidents happened and it became more frequent. And it's like, why are they? Because we lived there for years and we never had this issue. And then all of a sudden we're having Bigfoot. It's like, wow, what's going on? Are they being squashed out of one area and they're making a new path or something? And so one day we went out after a heavy rainstorm and found footprints. We found trees that are about this big around, green, and they were bent over and they were split at the bottom. Sorry, but human beings don't have that ability to do that. And I mean, they were split.
They
And
bend a lot of trees too, and that shows the directions that they go in.
they also, we heard this knocking.
Oh, I was going to say that. Oh,
And then when we went the next day, we found out what the knocking was. They had gotten
a turtle. They ended up
a box turtle
breaking the shell open
on the top.
The very
We don't
top.
have any animals that can do that. We have squirrels, groundhogs. We had some raccoons, and this was intermittent knocking. And then that turtle was pulled out of the top, and that's it was a big box shell turtle.
We think what happened was it was using a tree to break it open. It was taking the turtle and it was slamming its shell on the tree until it broke. It was slamming it for at least maybe 20 minutes, I would say, before it finally stopped. It was doing it for a long while.
It was using it as and then ate the turtle.
It was doing everything it can.
The bottom of the turtle was all tight shut because all we saw was the shell of the turtle. We turned it over. The bottom was perfectly intact, and the turtle inside was missing. It's like, oh my gosh.
And then there was another time when we have a fence in the very backyard. Well, it's through the whole yard, but we were sitting at the very back.
It's a 6 foot tall fence.
Yeah.
And they're solid.
And what happened was
Can't see through
me
them.
and Mom were sitting back there and we were just talking. And next thing you know, we hear rustling behind us. And it's like, what the hell is that? So Mom tells me to get up on the chair and go look. And I'm like, okay.
Because we're butted up against the woods.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sure it's nothing, So as soon as I get my chair and I step on it and I look over, the first thing I seen was a big Auburn-looking Bigfoot staring right at me. So I'm looking at it like, oh, you know what? You're actually kind of cute. But he was, I don't know if it was a male or female, but I got the feeling it was a male. And he was just staring at me. He had big brown eyes. He was reddish orange, more Auburn looking. And he was just looking at me, and it was weird. It was like he was very calm. He didn't seem like one of those ones that would hurt you, And I felt like he was very curious because in my mind I was thinking, I want to see your face. So he ended up getting closer to me, and I was actually able to look at his face, which was very weird because I've never seen one up close and personal like that before this one. And it was interesting, though, because he was really tall. He was probably like 8 to 9 foot tall. He was muscular. He had a lot of hair. Very cute in the face. Very pretty hair. It was big, though. So I'm standing on the chair, and he's literally looking at me eye to eye. We were about the same height. And he was no more than maybe 5 to 10 feet, if even that, away from me.
And I wouldn't get up off my chair. I'm like,
Yeah, she was like, no, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I'm okay.
Because I could see something was standing there because there's little teeny cracks through the fence, and I'm like,
Yep. So basically, I ended up just getting down off the chair, and we just kind of went about talking again, and I think he eventually just walked away.
Yeah.
But he wasn't
good.
malicious or anything.
No,
which was
I'm
a good thing. So I don't know.
So yeah, we've had encounters with the Bigfoot or the Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, and
there's different types.
Interesting.
I know
there are.
Me and Mom have run into many different ones because we go in the woods a lot. We do trails or just go in the woods and walk around, go to the creeks. And there was one other time I was in middle school, I seen a white Bigfoot, but I didn't really get to see him. It's like he was running away for some reason. I was with a couple of friends at the time, and we were going through the woods, getting ready to go home. But I followed it, and it just kind of disappeared. And it was weird because he was really big, and he was beautiful and white, though. But when I went to go follow him, I couldn't find him, and I didn't go real far, maybe, 20 feet away, if that. And I hear my friend calling me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to turn around, but I got this instinctive feeling that I was being watched the whole time, and it scared me a little bit. So I kind of ran back. But I think you have good ones and bad ones. It depends.
I think they're
on
just
the
like
type.
people.
Yeah.
If you can come across a grumpy person or a really
good
friendly
person.
one.
Yeah.
I think they're just like people. I know they're people. They're just a type of person.
Just another
They're not.
being, really.
They're not strictly humanoid, but they do share some of our DNA.
But yeah, they do walk on 2 feet. You know, I'm sure if they run, they can use their hands.
Like when I go and remote view, Wendy can remote view also. We have this, and I have another daughter, and she's got these abilities. We've all got these abilities. So we can bilocate. At least I can. I don't know if you can bilocate. How many times have you seen me and I'm not there? Oh my goodness! You should probably say something about that. That was interesting. One day, Wendy was running around looking for me. I think my daughter Cassie too.
Yeah, we both did.
And they could have sworn I was wearing different clothes.
Well,
and
that was Cassie.
Yeah.
I don't know about mine. I don't know if I looked at your clothes. But Cassie, yeah.
Cassie was like, Mom, I was just talking to you. How'd you get outside so fast? I just turned around and how'd you change your clothes? Yeah, she had a full-on conversation with me in the kitchen. And I was outside in the backyard. And she says, oh my God, it was you.
Yeah.
Multitasking, because she said I was doing laundry, and I was actually outside doing garden work, and I did need to do laundry. It's like, well, here, let me split apart and multitask. Just crazy things.
It is crazy.
Yeah, just crazy things. But yeah.
We have a lot of crazy things that happen to us, though.
We always have.
Lots of different things. Extraterrestrials, Bigfoot.
Oh God, the light doors opening up in our house. We've had light doors. Open up.
Reptilian with me, unfortunately.
Gosh, yeah.
Although I can't see that because I don't know
Yeah,
whether
and
they
then
were good
the
or bad.
orbs. I've had orbs here, but I never had orbs over there.
No, I don't remember seeing
But
orbs
the
over
light
there.
doors are freaking crazy. I was sitting in bed one night, and I just went to bed. And I was still sitting up in bed. I turned the lights off, and I had 2 dogs and 2 cats on my bed with me. And this light door opens up in my bedroom, and the animals are wide awake, and they're squinting their eyes looking. And it's like, they're not flipping out? I couldn't believe my dogs didn't flip out. But yeah, they were sitting on the bed, and they didn't flip out, and the cats were squinting their eyes. And then I was like, I'm just sitting there going, what the hell? Don't come in my house. In my bedroom? I'm not even asleep. And then I guess it realized, because I'm sitting up in bed, the animals are all looking at it, I'm looking at it, and then it shut. And it's like, I was blinded for a second, because when you have a bright light like that, and I mean, it was like looking at 10 light bulbs in your face, bright. All of a sudden, everything went really black, and I reached over and turned on the light. I'm like, what the hell? They're coming to get me, and I was wide awake. Yeah, it's some crazy shit.
Yeah. They have very high advanced technology. Yes, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I was remote viewing something, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to freak you out. I was talking to Zanvast, and he's like, do you think that they put implants in you? So I looked inside of my body, and I found implants, but I found one that was most disturbing. I saw myself laying on a table. They took out my eye, and they put a camera behind my eye, so everything my eye sees, they're seeing. I was so freaked out, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this. How many years ago? About 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, I woke up one day, and my eye was blood red. It looked like my whole eye was bloody red. And it looked like blood. You couldn't tell the pupil from the iris from any of it. You could
say it was like a pink eye, except it was a red eye.
Red. So I ended up going to the optometrist, and they did all these tests, and they're like, we don't know what's wrong with your eye, and we can see it's terribly wrong. And I was thinking, should I go to the hospital? And they're like, no, we're an optometrist, and they're trained in that, and and they could not figure out. I mean, I went through so many tests, and they could not figure out what was wrong with my eye. And then when I remote viewed that they had taken my eye out of my head and put that camera system back there, and I was like, oh, that's what was wrong with my eye. No wonder they couldn't find it. I'm wondering if it's still in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then I know that I've got implants on my body still. I know all my children do. So for some reason,
Oh yeah.
we're like experiment number whatever. But yeah, I think that was the most frightening thing I ever saw when I remote viewed about myself. And I don't like to remote view about myself because I don't want to know anymore. If things are being done, I really don't want to know. I mean, I don't want anything done to me, but I don't want to see it being done to me if it's horrific like the eye thing. Can you imagine seeing your eye out of your head? Oh my. No. So yeah, we
I won't be able to handle that.
You should talk about when you were, just say you were in the bed, start by there about the abduction by the reptilian.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so basically I was laying down and I was actually sleeping and I was astral traveling. Well, I guess the reptilian was he was in my room and he was trying to take me or something, and I immediately came back to my body, but I'm still outside of my body because this reptilian's there trying to move me around. He's looking at my face and he's looking at my body and he's taking my legs and trying to take me off the bed, and I'm looking at him like, oh my God, what are you doing? I can see everything you're doing. Stop. I'm still here. I'm awake. I can see you even though I'm out of my body. I'm astral traveling. So I try to get back in my body and I can't. And what happens is he's still going. He looks at me and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you don't stop, I'm going to have to hurt you. Then I put my hands up at him. I said, I'll hurt you if you don't stop. So he looked at me again and he got up and he just stopped. Well, what happened was he started moving back and he just disappeared into the kitchen. So I tried to get back in my body and finally I was able to get back in. And I ended up waking up immediately. So I got up and I walked straight ahead into the kitchen, and as soon as I turned the light on, he was standing right up against the wall next to me.
And how big was he?
He was at least maybe 6 something, 6'5". He was pretty tall, maybe 7 foot. On the corner of my eye, I could see him standing here. And I looked over. He was completely invisible. You couldn't see him at all. And I just got this big cold chill. My whole body shook once I saw this. And I'm like, oh my God. And I could see him looking right at me. So I ended up walking around the room. And I don't know what he did, but I walked twice because the first time I was too scared. But I walked around the room and then I walked back over again and I ended up swiping my hand up against the wall and he wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, I know he's still in this place, so I'm afraid to go to sleep. So I stand up and just pace a little bit. I ended up turning the light off. I ended up getting right back in bed, and as soon as I lay down, I see this huge light in the kitchen just open up, and it was opened up for at least 5, maybe 10 seconds, and then it shuts. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, he just left. I hope he's gone, and I hope he doesn't come back. But the rest of the night, I could not sleep. And I'm going to tell you the truth. After that happened, it was probably about 6 months before I actually got good sleep again because I was so freaked out about it. But
because she just couldn't go to sleep after that. She was terrified. Mom, I can't go to sleep. I can't go to sleep.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. When I was looking at him, he had black. It's like a black. It looked like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like a black. How would you explain that?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
I told you about it, but anyway, I would say like a black wrap, like how you have galls, but pitch black. It was around his eyes. It was around his mouth. It was doing this around his whole body, but you could still see pieces of his body.
Maybe it was a technology.
I think it was something. It was weird. And it kind of glistened a little bit. It wasn't just plain black. It had like a glistening effect, like it was some kind of technology. And it was around his mouth, it went around his neck and his chest and everything. The very top of his head had probably 50 to 60 horns on his head. They ranged in size. Some were real small, Some were really big.
Were they nodules or horns?
They were like horns.
Oh my, okay.
Like horns. And they were all over the top of his head. It was very weird. He was green and yellow. I couldn't see his eyes because of the wrap. He had only slits for nose. I couldn't see his mouth because of the wrap. He was tall and he was very thin. He had very broad shoulders, a very thin little waist, and his legs went kind of straight down, a little bit thicker in the legs, in the thigh area though. And he was very slender, but muscular looking. So, I don't know, it was really weird. I didn't get the greatest feeling from him though. I just got this, oh my gosh, don't take me. Something's bad's gonna happen. So something had to prevent that from happening. I mean, it's a good thing I was out of my body, because I'm gonna tell you, they have the technology to put you in some type of coma where you cannot get out of it. So in a way, if I wasn't out of my body and he had done that to me, I don't think I would have woken up, and he would have ended up taking me. So, but it just freaks me out because I'm sure that's not the first time it's happened. It's just the first time I witnessed it.
Yeah.
You know.
I can tell you these beings, they have high technology, and a lot of their technology is also, yes, they have devices, but their devices also work with their mind. And this is what I've actually remote viewed. And their technology is like, it's mind to technology devices. And they literally can put your brain into a comatose state, like if you were in anesthesia and you aren't waking up. That's it. You're not. You could be right next to somebody and they're not waking up and you're not waking up. And if you do wake up, you're never going to wake them up, because they do this to you. And only because I've remote viewed it, and only because it's impacted my life and my daughter's life. And my daughters are she's going to be 29, mm-hmm. and my other daughter's 31. She's going to be 32 soon. They all turned this, actually,
in a week.
Yeah.
We're a week, well, we're 3 years apart, but we're a week apart.
Yeah,
from our
Cassie
birthdays.
turns 32 on the 30th.
On the 30th
of this month. That's tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow's the 30th.
Tomorrow.
That's her birthday.
Okay.
So, oh, you're bad.
Well, at least
and then yours is in August, the beginning of August. So,
yeah.
And then you turn 29. And we've been dealing with this since before they were born. I've been dealing with this since before they were born. So, this is nothing new to me. I have introduced Cassie and Wendy into the reality of, look, whatever you see, you are not crazy. No. You are allowed to speak your mind. You're not going to be judged, because I've had to deal with it my life too. I mean, my entire life I've had to deal with this stuff too. Mm-hmm. So, there we go.
Yes, exactly. And there is only, I think there is one other abduction that I do remember, and it was with the tall whites. And that's what I call them, because I really don't know what their actual name is. So I ended up waking up and they had abducted me, and I guess I'm on their ship and I'm laying on a metal table. Well, I don't think it's a table, but it's a bed. Anyway, I woke up and I started crying and I was like, don't make me go back there. I don't want to come back here. And they didn't speak at all. It was all telepathic. And they calmed me down, and it just, within a couple minutes, I stopped crying and I was okay. And I'm just looking at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're actually really cute. They aren't scary looking. You know, they had beautiful big blue eyes. Some had green eyes. They were very tall. They were at least 6 to 7 foot tall also. Very skinny. Their heads were a little bit abnormal. They were bigger than normal.
Their eyes were big.
Their eyes were huge. Oh my God.
I remember you telling me that. Their
eyes were enormous. But they had beautiful eyes. They weren't black or anything like they try to show on the media, you know, or false news. They were very pretty. And there was about 6 of them in the room. They were all standing up and they had monitors. There was like 3 of them on this side and 3 of them on this side. And the main one kept coming back and looking at me, and he was looking at the computer and I guess monitoring whatever they were hooking up to me. I don't know if it was my frequency, my brain, whatever it was. So they calmed me down. They let me stay awake. They didn't put me to sleep for at least 20 minutes, I would say, maybe 30 minutes. I was awake for a long time, just looking at them all like, oh my gosh, they're not scary at all. They're all so cute. And I don't want to go back there because this place is horrible.
Well, she didn't want to come back
Here
to this snow globe
world.
She's like, don't make me go back to the snow globe.
Yeah. And they gave off this loving feeling. It was just so wonderful. You just wanted, it was so warm and loving, and it was like they care about you. And it's like they know what's going on, and they're monitoring everything down here. And you didn't want to leave because you knew if you were there, you'd be taken care of. And it was just a wonderful place. I wish I could go back there, even though it wasn't like I'm in another world or anything like this. I'm just on a ship with these beings. But because the beings were such good beings, you didn't want them to go anywhere. You wanted to have a bond and a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know. They were very good compared to the reptilian one. And I don't like to say that because not all reptilians are bad. You do have some of them that are, but you also have the good ones, just like with anybody. You have good people, bad people, other beings, good beings, bad beings. It just depends on who they are, know?
Mm-hmm. So do you want to cut the video? Because we're going long.
That's fine.
Well, I've had some people say, talk for hours. I can't talk for hours.
Well, we would, but my sister's coming anyway, so.
Yeah, Cassie's on her way here from where she lives, and she lives a couple hours away, so.
Yeah, and she'll probably be here within the next half an hour, actually, if not sooner than that. It's already 9:30.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad, because we could talk about a lot more, like the fairies and the gnomes and everything.
Yeah, we have a lot to say. We've had a lot of stuff happen to us, and it's like you hear people saying, "Oh, there's no such thing." Yeah, you'd be surprised.
There is. There really is. And in a way, I wish everybody could experience it, just because they would know better at that point, and they would not think twice about denying it.
Yeah. Well, first off, they'd have to be opened up.
Well,
if they're not opened up, they're not going to experience it anyway.
Yeah,
you really have to open up that DNA of yours. I was born awake, and both my children were born awake, so that's almost like a cheat advantage, because the regular person has to, first they're going to have to decalcify their pineal gland, because that's been really damaged through the fluoride you're drinking and the chlorines and the heavy toxic metals from the chemtrailing and oh my.
And the food you eat.
And the food you eat.
And the stuff you drink.
So, okay, I guess that should be the end, because we really do need to get ready.
Yeah.
And here's the meower. Come here, Tiger. Tiger. Let me go get him. Hold on. Hi, Tiger. Come here, baby. Come here.
Look at him run.
He's running. He's like, no.
He's running away.
Here's the big meower.
Oh.
Say hi, Tiger. I'm going to go outside. We have a rabbit in here, too. And this is my brother's cat. And it's my brother's rabbit, because this is my brother's house. And he's like, don't let the cat near the rabbit. Well, I was like, okay, let's see. So I left the rabbit in the cage, and I bring the cat over to the rabbit. And the cat was terrified of the rabbit. And now the rabbit chases the cat, and the cat's like, oh, God, don't get me.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And he's terrified of the rabbit. Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So we'll have to let him out.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess we'll be going off. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Oh, they're here. I just heard the doorbell.
Oh, yeah, they're here now. That was the perfect timing.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.